Esmeralda. Welcome to my YouTube video today. I'm actually going to be talking about some good, awesome finds. Well, at least I hope they are awesome because I haven't read them yet, but it was actually a bonus. One, two, three, four, 5 books that I found at the Dollar Tree. All of them each $1. I am just like, what? I knew that they had books and stuff like that, but for some reason I always thought it was just like, I don't know, regular inspirational kind of books. But the other day I stopped by and I had to pick up some stuff and I was like, you know what, let me look around. And I actually started rummaging through the books and I'm like, what the heck? These seem pretty good books. So I'm here to tell you guys, oh my gosh, that you guys can find books, probably even really amazing books, at the Dollar Tree, only for $1, people. So yeah, not only can you go to the thrift store, but you can also check out books at the library. This is all for budget friendly, you know, and you want to kind of grow your library. I know I personally love the whole concept of a library. I'm hoping that one day I will have a collection of books that I can just pick and choose and whatnot. But anywho, I really dream of one day owning a library, or at least, I don't know, a really good size amount of books. Is that kind of crazy? I think it is. I know my husband probably thinks I'm going wild, like, but he doesn't understand. It's just never enough with books, okay? But anywho, let's get straight to it and let me start showing you guys a little bit of synapse, or a little bit of information about each individual book. All of them are pretty intriguing, a little bit different. Some books is books that I probably would have not have actually thought of picking up myself, but because it was $1, why not? Okay, so let's get started. This right here, I cannot say the name of the title for the life of me. I'm gonna butcher it, I'm gonna kill it. Yeah, like really terrible. But this is kind of like, not necessarily a sequel, but it does get based on the same, it's like a Toy Town. Just imagine Toy Story, but spruced up in an adult kind of way. This author made your dreams come true. If you love Toy Story, this is definitely something you may want to look into. I would have never ever heard of this book if, again, I didn't go to Dollar Tree and just kind of like read and skimmed through it. But according to this, it's about, I'm assuming this is Maximilian. I think that's his name. See, Maximilian. There you go. See, I have to kind of go back and brush up. But anywho, yeah, so it's about Reuben Walrus, and he basically is turning deaf. He's very slowly turning deaf, but he wants to do a symphony. And he overheard or heard about fables or whatnot about this particular person called Maximilian in the toy, basically, town. And I believe the toy town is called, hold on, so I'm trying to look at the back here. I think it's Mullisan Town, and that's what it's called. And it's basically where toys live, and there's the good and the bad. But I guess Maximilian was known to have basically healing powers. So Reuben, the walrus, basically, I'm assuming he's the walrus because his last name is Walrus. So I'm thinking he's a walrus. But anywho, he's trying to find him to see if maybe he could probably heal him of his ailment of going deaf and whatnot. But yeah, so the bad, I guess, overheard this fable as well and are somehow trying to find Maximilian and probably, yeah, finish him up or something. Pretty much. But it's all about the quest of trying to find him. Reuben is trying to find him and seeing where this adventure goes and why Maximilian is really trying to hide and what are the intentions of these bad people and the good people. Now, I want to say there was already, well, I don't want to say, I know there was 2 other books that also this is basically based off of. And this author, which I didn't, so rudely of me, didn't even say the author's name or didn't even attempt to read the actual title. But it's Tim Davys, I want to say, and it's spelled with a Y at the end right here. And as you guys can tell, I don't think I can say this, but I want to say it's called Lanceheim?
Aww.
Lanceheim? I don't know, but yeah, that's the name of this particular book. And I want to say here in the back, I noticed that it had even a bigger picture, of course, black and white. But these are other two books that this author did that also has to, basically from the same town, which was, let me read down here again, Mullison Town, where all the toys basically live. I want to say that Amerville was the first book, but I might be mistaken. But anywho, that's what this one is about. I think with this particular series of books, you don't have to just read one book and then the next book and then the next book like in order. I think they're all like just different stories, but all in taking place in the same town. So if you decide to try, what is it, Amberville and Turquoise, oh, I forgot the name. I cannot say these names. Yes, I'm terrible. Like, I'm super terrible. Anywho, if you decide to read one of those, or maybe you have one of those available for you guys can read those. It won't mess around with, I guess, this storyline, because it's a whole different storyline, just the same town. Okay, that's enough about that book. The next book is another animal book, except this isn't stuffed animals. These are like real animals. But this is called Elbert Adelaide. It's a novel from Howard Anderson right here, and it's basically about the platypus. Now I want to say his name is Elbert. So this is Elbert. He basically escaped from a zoo that he was kept. He was an orphan. And it's him basically discovering life outside of the zoo. And he ends up meeting with a wombat, which his name is Jack. And I guess he was like a pyromaniac kind of person. They get into some trouble. Things happen. And again, this is like adult version of animals, you know. So if you're thinking like Zootopia or something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like that, but more different. Again, it wouldn't be like kid friendly, because this one they're like getting drunk, like Jack and the platypus are getting drunk. So this is more of an adult version of it, I guess you could say, and just the adventures. And I guess they meet up with different types of people, such as like kangaroos and whatnot. It's all kind of based more on Australia and the type of Australian animals that are over there. But he's basically trying to go to what it's called, Old Australia. Hold on, let me take a quick peek. Yes, Old Australia, which they do have a map up here. So something about the story just kind of was like, I don't know, I'm kind of interested. I'm not gonna lie. I am into a lot of like fiction and just fantasy kind of stuff, so especially lately. So I'm okay with kind of looking more into it. But this is this book. Now let's go to the next book, which I found, and this is here about a private detective. The name here is called Harry Lifan, Private Eye. I want to say that's what it's called, and it's by Barry Fantoni. This one basically is just imagine Clue. You know, the actual game Clue, which by the way, I used to love playing when I was young, and this was in school because I didn't actually own it. But yeah, so basically the game Clue, just imagine that, but more in a novel, and of course a little bit more different. I know my brother-in-law has that game Clue, and we've been so much. We always do game nights, and like for some reason we haven't gotten to playing Clue. So you guys, Aaron, come on, let's start playing. Anywho, so this one is basically about a detective. He's, I think, 86 years old. He's pretty much more in, yeah, he's 87 years young, okay? And he is actually a private investigator in Miami, and he's going to help this lady who seems to be losing her stuff from someone who is in her home. Now, she lives, I guess, in a mansion, and somehow her little knickknacks and little jewelry are starting to get stolen, and she doesn't know who it is. So she basically hired the detective to basically go in, and what's his name, by the way? The detective, oh, Harry. So she hired, it's right here in the title. So anyway, so she hires Harry, and he basically goes and investigates, and it's kind of like going and finding out whether it was the chauffeur. You got all of these other suspects that it could be, and I found it very interesting. Again, all of these really interesting books, and just kind of, you know, plots and whatnot. Now another one, which is a little bit goes very fantasy, is To Hold the Bridge, right here by the Nix, I believe. This book is going to be, it's kind of like, a spruced up version of a lot of little stories, but one main story at the beginning. So it's basically the first main story that this one is about, which, you guys, the artwork, can we just say amazing, spooky, creepy, definitely something that I don't know why was like intriguing me. But anywho, it's basically about a person called, let me see his name. They have it on here that I know. I was like, oh, Morgan. He wants to become a cadet, and basically enabled to be a cadet to be one of the bridge builders. It's a bridge company that is building a bridge from, I guess, from one side to the other, and they're trying to unite these two kingdoms or these two lands, and they go through so much hassle, this company, trying to make this bridge. Just imagine kind of like, how would I explain, like very fantasy. Don't probably like Lord of the Rings, the Hobbit, you know, that kind of stuff. Like just imagine something like that, except this one is just in regards to building a bridge between these two kingdoms or these two lands or whatnot. And you got people from this group and that group kind of interfering with the build bridging situation, and you got like, well, some kind of people coming in and doing, you know, horrid things. People have lost their lives trying to do this bridge. So they consider them cadets, the people who are actually working for this company, because it's a very dangerous job. So Morgan wants to be part of it, and it's just basically his story of how he wants to join the cadets, and also about them dealing with the bridge making. Above this one, there's other little stories, which I can tell you really from the back. It's basically, if you guys love zombies, which my husband does, which I don't know if he might be interested in maybe reading one of these little stories, but wizards, which I love. They have, let me see, unicorns, for geeks, legends, knights. So if you're into knights, also vampires, it has something that has to do with vampires, sidekicks, detectives, a little bit of everything. So this author is basically showcasing all of his skills in one big kind of book. So I don't know why, this really intrigued me, and I was like, I need to kind of check this out for sure. And again, $1. Now, I haven't been telling you guys how much some of these books are worth. I think this one, it doesn't say on here, but I want to say the other ones that I've had, like for example this detective one, the one that I said is kind of like similar to Clue, this was $24, like the retail price, 24 bucks, and I got it for $1. You also have Elbert and Adelaide. This one is also $24.99. So you're getting quite a good deal. So, you know, if you guys want to go by the Dollar Tree and just check, you know, to see what's available, definitely go on ahead and try. Now, one of the last books that when I found this, you guys, as I'm rummaging and moving, because sometimes it gets a little messy in that area, like usually it always does. I'm over here rummaging, looking, flipping, reading, doing all these kinds of things, taking my time, but at the same time trying to hurry up. And then this bad boy comes out. Oh my freaking goodness, you guys. Neil Gaiman. Now, if you guys have been following me from the beginning, or whatnot, you guys should already know by now. But if you don't, you'll know now. I'm a huge Neil Gaiman fan. Absolutely adore Neil Gaiman. I know recently not recently, but actually a few videos back, I did review the book set that I got from Neil Gaiman, which had actually the illustrations and the artwork from Chris Riddle, which, oh my god, that is just absolutely amazing piece of works, for real, because it was 3 books. But anyhow, so I've been trying to slowly collect my Neil Gaiman books. Now, this is definitely a sequel to another book, so I gotta get that book first before I actually start reading this one. Even though I'm pretty sure I can start it off just about, maybe about the same, I don't know. But this is kind of like galactic universe kind of book. But it's not just Neil Gaiman, by the way. It is another author as well, and I do not want to like bring him down, but no, it's Michael Reaves. I have not heard about this author, but I'm not going to lie, I'm actually very intrigued, because if he worked with Neil Gaiman, he must be real good. So I'm going to research more into him, and then possibly, I don't know, probably read some books from him as well. But this was a story that was built from both Neil Gaiman and Michael Reaves. I think I'm talking a little too quick. But anywho, so the other book that's from this one is InterWorld. InterWorld is actually the first book, and this is a sequel to it, which is called The Silver Dream. Now this one is about, what is it, Joey. Am I saying it right? Joey? Joey. So he basically can go into different dimensions and he can travel back and forth. Now the one thing I know about, at least from the author Neil Gaiman, I'm not sure about Michael Reaves, but I know with Neil Gaiman he tends to do a lot of like different dimensions, different worlds, kind of storylines and whatnot. So this one is actually about going in from one, I'm assuming one universe to another. That's kind of what I'm getting the vibes of. But anywho, on his, I guess from the last time that this sequel was originally from, I don't want to say too much of the storyline because I feel like I already know too much of the other book that I don't want to kind of give it off to you guys as well. But basically, he's back at it again, going to these different dimensions, and he goes from one place and comes back to the other place, but he doesn't come back alone. He actually comes back with a person called Acacia Jones. I hope I said her name right. A-C-A-C-I-A. Yeah. Acacia Jones. I want to say that's her name. But anyways, she basically follows him into his world, and yeah, adventures happened, things happen, and there's also, I guess, something happened amongst them. So this is kind of interesting. Definitely interesting. I know I've actually read Heart of Iron, Heart of Iron, something like that. I really love the storyline that I would have never thought of, kind of like intergalactic kind of world. And I really love that for some reason, that kind of fantasy of that, at least that fantasy world. So this one's now becoming very intriguing. I would have never thought to like think of anything like sci-fi-ish, or, you know, the fantasy that kind of touches more on the sci-fi area. Like, I'm not really into that. But for some reason, I'm really, I don't know, something about this book is like, So I'm going to try to get the original book as well, at least the first one from this one, and then read it and then read this one. Or I might just start this one. I don't know. I'm going to see. But anywho, those are the 5 books that I got from the Dollar Tree. You guys should definitely try to check it out. I'm telling you guys might be pretty surprised to find some good options in there. Especially if you're trying to build your library. You don't have to get any of the books if you're not liking any of them in that particular week or 2 weeks, because I want to say they kind of change it up. You may get where, like this one, there was only 1 book of this, and I am like, it was meant for me. But there was other books such as, let me see, this one that they had, I think, 3 books of. So they're kind of limited to the amount of books of each author and story or whatnot that they may have. But who knows, you might find something that maybe you were looking for a long time and you can get it for $1. If you have actually gone also to a Dollar Tree and actually found great books, comment down below what were your finds and what were your best and probably worse. I don't know. Because I guess if you're there and you found some really good stuff, it'd be good. But anywho, comment down below with what you found. Also, let me know if there's any other places that also probably have good deals on books. But yeah, that's going to conclude my video. Again, don't forget to like this video. Also subscribe if you want to see more content from me. And until next time, toodles!